So, what the hell even is Chaos Zero Nightmare? To put it simply, it's kinda like Slay Spire meets Darkest Dungeon, deck builder type game with roguelite elements, where your characters will sometimes have mental breakdowns. That sounds kinda spoopy, but you know, there are mechanics, and you can play around them, and mental breakdowns is just another of these mechanics. But first, let's start from the top. So, just like most of these games, you'll have a story mode and an alternate mode. The alternate mode being there for farming cards to add to your deck, which I guess is quite different from what we are usually used to. Though there does seem to be something that will be akin to gear, probably will be taking a back seat in this game, because the focus really is on the deck building aspect, and we're getting a lot of cards, and can build synergies around whatever you like and whatever you pick up, and to kind of break down a bit of what's going on in the combat from what we've seen, because they haven't laid out things very plainly for us to understand everything. But essentially, every card seems to have a cost. The actual points you get to use are at the bottom in the center of the screen over there. Then you have this EP thing, which I guess means something like energy points. Fills up over time, I imagine, and those things here are what I believe they call the ego skills, but they're basically ults, and the number in the top left would be the cost of said ultimate. And the cool thing is, once your character has a mental breakdown, well, okay, that's not the cool part. I don't want people to have mental breakdowns, I think. Maybe you do in this game, so, you know, maybe I'll have to rethink my morals a little bit. But anyways, point is, when they have a mental breakdown, that number will go down, and you get to use it for cheaper. So if you manage to line things up properly, you'll actually get to do some pretty cool stuff. Another thing I will briefly touch on is that something that I really like is, even though the character models on the field are chibis, although I guess they're not like that small, so they're not like the chibiest of chibis. But anyways, I actually like that you get to see like the full art of the characters pop up as they use their skill and such, and when they use their ults, have really sick animations going on. But anyways, I'm gonna get sidetracked a little bit. You see this bar below the enemy's health bar, which has a break system where some abilities will deal a certain amount of break bars, and once they're broken, I would assume they take enhanced damage or whatnot. Once again, this isn't explained. It's purely conjecture based on what's being displayed on the screen, pausing and rewatching stuff. Oh yeah, and as they have explained, you will have a bunch of combos to work around, but I'm assuming that that's not like too surprising. That in a card building game, you will want to build synergies and use that card before this card, and then that card, and then Exodia spawns, and you just win the video game. But anyways, so another thing that there seems to be is gear mid-runs of this special secondary mode, where you get to farm cards to add to your deck. Those gear cards end up having some special effects as well, so that's pretty cool. On top of then, having special upgrades that they call fates further enhance this whole like deck building thing. Like for example, that one that has 3 basic cards replaced with random rare neutral cards. Whatever that will mean exactly, we'll see when we get to play the game. So, the mental breakdown system is pretty straightforward. The longer your characters are out on the field, and the more they take damage, the more stressed out they get, and at some point they reach a breaking point, which triggers their mental breakdown, and obviously heavily nerfs them. But if you get to use their ultimate ability to get them out of that state at a reduced cost, you get to pop the fuck off, and it's pretty good for everyone. They aren't stressed out anymore, and you get to see big boom boom damage pop on your screen. Alright, so from this screen that appears for way too short of a time on the showcase, we're able to tell what some of the systems that we'll get to use to strengthen our characters will be. The first one being stats, where it's just level up your character, get more better stats, bigger number means better person. You know the drill. Card is just where you're going to assume just the base cards of the character you're on the profile of. Partners, from what I've seen, by looking at their website and stuff, it just seems to be some certain characters are partners of other characters. So that's just that. I'm not sure exactly how that's gonna work. That's what's up. Save data is what we were talking about earlier with the farming stuff that you do, where you just farm some cards that you get to add to your deck. That's what the save data is. Potential is pretty simply just a skill tree where you just get some bonus stats and whatnot. Memory fragment, they haven't showed at all, but if I'm just assuming and piecing things together, it's probably just going to be a gearing system of sorts. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work because they haven't showed anything about that. But seeing that there's like this little notification, like, oh hey, you got a slot that you might want to fill up for your gear or whatever, right? And then the Transcend is just a classic dupe system. So that's what's up, and the little ID icon at the top is just the character's profile with voice lines and whatnot, where you can enjoy that if you like that, but you know, not relevant for the building of the character. Oh yeah, another thing that I'm really looking forward to for this game is, well, if you couldn't tell, this game setting is kind of dark and kind of messed up. And if they pull it off, that could be really cool because we don't have that many darker stories in the gacha space, and I would be pretty happy if the narrative is interesting as well, and not just a bunch of stuff that happens for shock value. But the fact that we have all these characters in the game that have mental breakdowns based on their trauma already means that there will be some sort of baseline depth for every character, which is pretty promising, I would say. And while everything looks absolutely either fucked up or disgusting, the art across the board looks absolutely amazing, so that'll help make us feel disturbed, I guess, and so thumbs up emoji for that. Also, the church is evil, it seems, in this game. Never seen that before. I'm sure everyone's shocked, but whatever. Oh, and one thing that might not interest everyone, but still is going to interest everyone in the sense that, like, on the English side of things, they announced the collab with Whole Life English. They're like dropping soon, right? However, I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but the Japanese side of things kind of spilled the beans, and it's happening on the 18th, so I don't know when the game is supposed to come out exactly. They haven't given us a release date. It's only pre-registration that's up, but they've been like pretty damn aggressive with the marketing and just like posting a bunch of stuff and like a bunch of stuff and a bunch of stuff. Same on the other account. So anyway, I'm not gonna bore you with the exposition they did for the story and all that good stuff. And if you care about looking at the cool / pretty character design, you can go ahead and check the other parts of the live stream that they did. Or you can head on over to their website because there's like 20-ish characters already put on there and some extra stuff as well. Though it's not that much because, once again, they're trying to drip feed us information and, you know, keep us hyped, keep us wanting for more until they actually get closer and closer to releasing their game. Once again, the only thing that I can give as an estimate is the placeholder that we have on the App Store, which is October 15th. So I guess don't expect for anything closer than that for right now. But also, we won't have to wait for that much longer. Just gonna hold on a little bit, and we'll get our hands on that. So yeah, that was As Hey, and I believe it's time for me to head on out. So bye bye.